Hey guys, welcome to the Sunday Dev Hangout. It might help if I turn the mic on. It was me chatting away. If you're new to the stream, thanks for joining us today. If you'd like to follow us, just click on the follow button below at twitch.tv/GamesFoundry. Alternatively, you can follow us on Twitter, which is @GamesFoundry. Or pop along to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/GamesFoundry. As usual, at some point in the stream, we will be giving away a Folktale key on Steam. So to be in with the chance to win that giveaway, you just have to be watching at the point that we decide to do it. It can be at any time. If anybody is hosting our channel, then thank you very much for doing that. We appreciate that very much. We're trying to build a community and provide hints and tips to everybody that's really keen on the game in terms of level design and content that we're adding. So it's a good place to come and hang out. Ask us questions, we'll answer them in real time or show you in game. In today's Hangout, we're going to be looking at the snow kits, so the actual snow terrain kit and the snow monastery kit, which have had quite a lot added to them this week. So I'll be going through and using all of those pieces just to improve the map that I'm working on, which will be releasing in patch 0.2.11. Goose McDucks, yes, I have changed my shirt. It's hot in here. And, you know, I tried to look my best for you guys. You know, have a shave and all that lot, instead of looking like Grizzly Adams at the start of a stream. Okay, so we're looking at the editor pieces. We'll also be looking at some of the changes that have been made to the ambient lighting, both in the editor and in Sandbox Player. And then we're going to jump over to Sandbox Player and have a look at 3 new buildings and professions. So we'll be looking at the herbalist and the weaver and the tailor, and the start of the cotton economy chain. It is still work in progress, so please bear with us, but it should all be in and working for patch 0.2.11 at the end of this month. We're also doing some work on the research and crafting system, so we've been fleshing out that this week. So most of the buildings that are in now have got their research enabled. I'm using a lot of placeholders at the moment, so a lot of them just grant 10% worker efficiency bonuses. But in time we will flesh those out to provide buffs or unlock crafting recipes, and the buffs can be either like to the workers or the units that you train at that building, or they could be for your entire village. Yeah, and we've been setting up, or we'll continue to set up, all of the crafting recipes as well, so defining all the ingredients and what gets unlocked and which buildings they get crafted at. So yeah, there's a lot going on. So the first thing I wanted to do is look at the new pieces. So we've got sort of new pieces of trim. We've got the doors and lighting. So I'm able to remove the lighting that was coming from the Grasslands kit and actually start using this. We've got like a new bridge. I'll just hide this. It reminds me of the lakes that you find at Westlake in Hangzhou in China, having lived in China for 4 years. So it looks authentic. I can tell you that it looks authentic. I mean, we're drawing influences from all over in this, but yeah, so cool bridge. And we've got some pillars, and I say more lighting to be going at. I should probably slow down rather than flying around. We have got all sorts of cool little sewer outlets and frozen water out of water pipes that I was just going around prior to the stream starting. The music that's playing in the stream today is going to be the Snow Zone music. So it's very sort of crisp, wintry music. Okay, and then, excuse me, bringing some more of the assets over from the snow monastery that was in the tutorial. So we've now got the big, sort of gentle sloping stairs. And one thing that you'll notice is that this no longer looks like the lighting from the Grasslands kit. And that's because we have now integrated the ambience. And if I just go, let's see. We've integrated the ambience system into the editor now. So if I go to the environment settings and I can choose, let's say we change it from winter to swamp, and then all my lighting will actually change now. Obviously, the snow kits aren't designed to work with the swamp lighting, so it looks a bit naff, but you know, you get the idea. I don't know what light, I don't think. Alright, yeah, so the lava setting. Yeah, so you'll be able to. That was the original Grasslands one, I seem to remember. Or is it Grasslands default? Oh no, that's the new one. So what I want, that's probably the lighting that you're used to seeing. And well, you can see why we've changed it, because it blows out the snow zone. And now we've changed the Grasslands one as well. But anyway, we'll go back to the winter zone. So now you can actually work in the environment that your world has been created in, rather than using fake lighting that doesn't suit it. Okay, so what I was doing, I was going through all of the new pieces and seeing what pieces we've got. I would actually probably start by locking the tiles. I should probably space these out really. I won't spend too much time on designing this level because well, I was doing it pre-stream as well. So it's more to show you the pieces that are new. Yeah, we can change the music as well. So although it's not playing in Sandbox, but I could change it so that I can choose like the music that I want to accompany it. So like the musical theme from which there are, you know, in each theme there are multiple pieces. And cliff biomes changes the textures on the cliffs, which I'll show you as well. So at the moment they're using snow, but if I don't know, if I wanted to use desert kit, which obviously is not available at the moment, or the Grasslands kit, and it'll change that for me. I think I mentioned it in last week's Hangout, but we're going to be changing the way terrain works, and rather than every terrain kit having cliffs in and tiles, terrain tiles, flats and things like that, we will just create a generic terrain kit, and then you'll use the paint tools to actually paint those. And then we'll obviously make sure that there's code in there to migrate all of your existing maps across to use that without you having to do anything. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out for like a generic like terrain pieces kit. And also like a generic lighting kit as well for like campfires and torches and things like that. So we're looking to streamline a lot of the kits. Okay, so what other pieces? Let's have a look at the kit definition. So it's actually, now there are no icons at the moment because they tend to get produced a few days before the patch day, and the reason for that is because kit pieces are being added to all the time, and I don't want to have to keep going backwards and forwards between well, having to create the icons multiple times. So I just want to do them the whole lot in one sitting. So I just tend to leave them, but it does make it a little bit difficult for me to work just off the names. Now that's why we sort of try and follow a naming convention, because it would be nigh impossible for me to do it otherwise. But you guys will get all of the nice icons, which makes it so much easier. I mean, if I just pull up the swamp ruins, you can. It's just it's just really obvious which piece is which. And without those icons, it's just, I don't know, real hard. All right, my apologies. I really must keep checking chat more. Okay. Another thing I think I will get Harfoxel to add in real soon is saving of groups somehow, so that I can group everything together like this and it remembers them every time I load it back into the editor, because that will definitely help in terms of productivity. Right, anyway, back to the Snow Monastery. So just let me make sure I haven't missed anything. So let me check all of the... So we've got multiple types of light. So we've got these that are sort of meant to sit on top of pedestals. So like, sorry, just bear with me, down here. So they haven't got any base. And then we've got ones that have got legs. And we've got, obviously, the ones that are activated with fire burning in them, and ones that just got ash in there. And we have, well, I mentioned we've got the hanging ones. And they've they're burning. And there's one just with ash in there. Yeah, so lots to be going out there. As I say, I only received them, let me see, this morning, so I've not been able to a chance to do much with them yet, but I will be spending some time on that this week. And I look forward to playing with those and testing that and making sure we haven't missed any pieces, so that when we do ship the next patch, you guys have got everything that you need to be able to design nice levels. Okay, so I think it's probably time that we jump into Sandbox Player, and then we can always jump back to the editor at a later date. So I will just save those changes, although I only made a couple. So just bear with me while I jump into Sandbox Player. What are the green poles near the water? They were probably fishing points. I will, Mr. MJ, I'll try and cover those off when I go back in next time. What I'm going to do this time, actually, is I'll play the Stinking Swamp because it's got more room for construction. And the soundtrack should change to the swamp. Yep. Let me just check my audio settings. It should be all good now. You should be able to hear me rather than peasants talking.
Yep.
Okay, good. That sounds pretty good to me. Let me know if there are any problems with audio, but I think now I've got the hang of it, and it should all be fairly well balanced. Okay, so let's dive in with new buildings. We can start with the Weaver. So let's plonk a Weaver's hut down. So the Weaver, the job of the Weaver will be to grow. Yeah, actually, that's the first thing that we can look at is. Let's just plonk down some. I don't know, plonk down a.
Building completed.
Monastery.
New villagers have arrived.
And we'll have a look at the new ambient settings. Yeah, it's changed and we've tweaked. I've tweaked. Not me. We have tweaked a number of things with the lighting.
Building completed.
So that now, if I drop down,
New villagers have arrived.
and you see it's sort of a hazy
Building completed.
hazy feel, and it should be going to nighttime soon.
Building completed.
Anywho's, so we were looking at the Weaver's hut. So I tell you what we'll do, we'll build a cottage because we need some more people real soon. There we go. Let them get to work.
All right, my
While
love.
they're doing that, let's train a weaver. So, one thing that we've not done at the moment is we've not set up the hair properly. So I think this... No, you can see that at the moment it's sticking through her head. So weavers have a specific hairstyle that's for them to stop. Going to night time now, so I'll just zoom back.
New villagers
It's a little bit bright on the windows. I still need to tweak it. It's definitely looking more moody. Mr. M just asking, will there be a clock in the GUI that shows day-night time? It's a possibility.
New villagers have arrived.
Especially once we make events that only happen at night time. Yeah, we may well be putting sort of a radial dial for the time, the night time. Anywho's, the weaver. So the weaver's job will be to cultivate cotton. Now, because we are still in the process of implementing that, what we do need is a farmer for now. We'll build a field. So let's plonk a couple of fields down and let them build that. So at the moment, the farmer is cultivating the fields, but using the wrong animations, and it will actually be once we set a field to grow cotton, then it will be the herbalist that takes over.
All right, dear.
So fields can grow different types of crops, which will be extending over time. So it can obviously grow wheat that the farmer will take to the mill, that gets milled into flour and to be then made into bread. You can grow pumpkins, which are sort of like vegetable, part of the vegetable diet of the villagers. And the villagers have different needs, so they need, you know, meat from fish and venison, and they need vegetables from pumpkins, cotton. The icon's wrong at the moment because I've not drawn it yet. Cotton is used by the weavers to make into bolts of cotton, and then the cotton goes to the tailor for manufacturing into clothing. So villagers have a need for clothing, and when their clothes sort of get raggedy, then they'll need to get new, more clothing. So that's a need that you need to meet. And then when we add the winery in, you'll be able to grow vines, and you can also grow herbs, which are used by in the making of medicines to cure your sick peasants. So, but for now, let's change this field to cotton. Change that one to pumpkin, and let's just pop another one down there, so they will go and build that. While they're doing that, let's train a couple.
What now?
Of farmers. And for now, at the moment, the farmers will go and cultivate. Excuse me, they'll go and cultivate the land. And these are the cotton plants that are grown, and the cotton buds actually grow over time. It does take a while to grow.
My pleasure.
And let's.
How can I help?
Well, once they've done spreading seeds, I think they'll be using different animations, certainly for the cultivation. So it should be actually the weaver that is doing some of this work, and it will. But because we're right in the middle of implementation, they don't do it at the moment. So, but by the time you get the patch, they will, and they'll be fully functional. All right, so that plant should actually be removed by default. There you go, here comes the farmer to take care of that wheat, and then over time, it started to show yet. Just getting the early shoots coming. You probably can't see it at the moment, but yeah, you're starting to see it coming now. But this will start to get white as the cotton grows. And we should be getting some pumpkins over here. They're a bit black at the moment when they first start, but they will we'll fix that up. So they'll be sort of an unripened green, and then they'll become orange over time. Or we might just make it orange. break from reality and make it just orange from the word go, so that you can see that you instantly know from the colour that it's a pumpkin field. And you can see that the cotton's starting to grow now. And eventually that will grow into a full field of cotton for cultivating by the weaver. By the weaver. So the weaver will come over and cultivate the cotton, take it back to the weaver's hut, and turn it into bolts of cotton. And then, when that's going on, we want to build Tailor's Emporium. So we will construct that there, and we'll also train a tailor. I wonder why that's not oh, maybe it was growing and I've just reset it. Oops.
Building completed.
Maybe our fox will slow down field growing, which would make sense because it was a little bit fast. Alright, so we have
Yep.
Right away.
our Tailor's Emporium
Something to
here,
do?
which is a model for a pincushion. Just catching up on chat. Let's go back and have a look. So now we've got proper cotton growing in the fields. Ollie Bear's asking, will villagers have personalities and families so that a specific family has a better trait, for an example, making them a better farmer? That has been discussed before. And the answer I gave back then was that we weren't going to put in children or old people because they were less interesting than, say, in the class. But I'm starting to come round to the idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the professions in, take a look at the memory and see what options that we've got, because it could be a good idea for us to add children in. And that is one of the main mechanics that you mentioned there, is that they could then inherit genetics to make them naturally a better choice for that profession. Mr. M is asking, will you also be able to make wool from sheep, since that was more common in the Middle Ages than cotton? The thing is, that is basically duplicating up function, the same function, which is clothing. So we would prefer to just provide one source of clothing, because otherwise it's just there to be pretty rather than expanding on the functional interest of the game. But we shall see. I don't think so. But never say never. Right. So we
Okay.
we want
What
to
now?
Yes, Petal.
male and a female. Let's jump down. So there we have our, let me stop the camera, male and female tailors. And their job will be to go and collect the bolts of cotton that are grown, sorry, not grown, but that are made by the weavers in the weaver's hut, and then fashion those into clothing. And then they will also be able to craft cloth armour. Now, what I need to do is I probably need to divert some of this production into research, because at the moment I've got no research points, and if I've got no research points, I've got no means of unlocking research, and you need to unlock research to be able to unlock crafting. So there we go, we're starting to get some research now, and we've got a cultural size of 78, which is pretty good. So our village is definitely building. I probably should make
We don't have enough gold to do that.
I'm going to cheat and build a barracks, because I have a feeling that the goblins are going to want to start taking an interest in our village real soon, so I want some defences. Let's build another cottage as well, because we've only got 10 population at the moment, which is not going to be enough, really. And let's rotate around there. I'm just very quickly going to drop down some of the resource buildings so that I can start getting those collected. And I'll drop down a woodcutter's hut. Okay. Culture size is now increased to 92.
Building completed.
Gone on to...
All right, my love.
Alright, so you guys, once you build this, because 5 new villagers will arrive here, so you'll see that the population capacity will increase to 15. And then let's go and train some arbalists. And
New villagers have arrived.
one thing I want to do...
Yes, my woman's work is never done.
I don't know why she froze, but I want you to go and become a blacksmith, because I want you to start collecting some iron ore from the iron mine to be able to make into iron ingots, because I want to unlock...
New villagers have arrived.
Where are we? I want to unlock plate mail and possibly chainmail. Yeah, so then I can go to crafting options. Oh, it looks like I haven't set up the crafting options yet for chainmail, but I want... I'm going to be changing some militia. Sorry, not militia. That was their old name, City Watch. So I'm just going to craft, because I basically unlocked plate crafting, plate armor crafting, or rather I unlocked plate armor, so I know then how to craft it. So they're now crafting those items, and they'll appear in my global inventory, and then from there I can drop them to my characters. So probably what I want to do is build another barracks.
We don't have enough gold to do that.
You do now, because I've cheated. Where are we? Ooh, there we go.
New villagers have arrived.
Oh dear. Right, looks like Mr. Swamp Beast was causing us some problems, which is why I needed to get some arbalists, so we'll send the arbalists over. Come on guys, where are you? Chris, we've got control groups in now. I'm going to hit control 1 to assign those to my control group. Let's go and
completed.
Kick that Swamp Beast's butt. You're no match. No match. Alright, so he's slow moving. How many did I have? Just 3. Right, so I need to move them back here now, because those goblins are going to be coming my way quite soon.
How can I help?
Right, do we need to train another? Oh, right, we didn't have the full amount trained. Right, so sorry about that. Let's catch up. If I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, we'll just get totally overrun. Okay, so... Rogue Roxy, yeah, you'd contact me to get some higher resolution art. Oh, will the animals from previous builds be added? Yeah, to spice up some of the areas. Yeah, like the squirrel and stuff like that. I actually want to get those in, so let me make a note of that. Because I do want to get those in to start adding some additional life. Stonewoods, you can't train infinite arbalists at the same barracks. Or is that a bug? I don't think you can. I don't think you ever could. Okay, so we've got 4. Ah, that's interesting. Now that is a bug. So we've got 4 trained there. But in the building dialogue, it's only showing 3. So that's definitely a bug. But you can't you can't train infinite number of units. You can only train 4 at a tier 1 building. Just plonk another hut down. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually send these guys in to die. Because I want to retrain. Actually, I could just retrain them, couldn't I? Let's just send them over here. Retrains this. I'm not happy with this farmer, so what I actually want to do is I'm going to lash them. Give them a good lashing. So the moment they have work productivity of 100%, I'm going to actually give them a little cash reward. So my gold's gone down, and you see that work productivity's gone up to 120%, which will keep them happy and keep them working. But if I'm not that way inclined and I want to work the dogs, then I can lash them. Now lashing makes them unhappy, but it does give you a much bigger short-term increase in worker productivity, but they will eventually become unhappy, and if they continue to become unhappy, they'll start to rant and throw tantrums, and then they'll eventually rebel and start throwing flaming torches and setting fire to your buildings. Which will be added in the not too distant future, because we're now at that phase.
Villagers have arrived.
But what we want to do is we need to grab...
Something to do?
There we are. Grab these guys, and using that plate that I crafted earlier at my blacksmith, let's equip you. So he's now got 51 armor. Plate is pretty effective at damage reduction. I still need to find some more villagers. So, oops, they always spawn out of where you built the cottage, the last cottage. So if you are searching for them, in the absence of the civics dialogue, which will show you where all of the free peasants are and all the workers and things like that. Just look for the last built cottage, and usually you will find some peasants. Yeah, you see, I selected at least 4 peasants, but only 2 will go and train because there were only 2 vacancies left.
Yes, Petal.
And these guys, actually, I've not got enough armor now. So what I will do is I'll give them a pickaxe. I think that's got some magic abilities, has it? Possibly not. Oh well.
All right, my love.
I'll assign those to control group 2. And let's move them over here. So I've got my arbalist on control group 1.
Yes, my dear. How can I help?
And I've got my city watch on control group 2. Mr. Emgers, if there won't be children as a mechanic, is there a possibility they could be added for fun? Sorry, what was that? All right, hang on.
Something to do? Yes, Petal.
So my arbalists can stand back. Actually, let's put those into defend mode. Let's move them up a little bit. All right, stay there, guys.
All right, my love.
And these guys, my city watch have got the heaviest armor, apart from that guy.
Ready to serve the free take.
Who died.
Yes, my dear.
So let's move our arbalists up. Put them into guard mode there. Alright, so we took care of those guys. We did lose one of our Dog Gang. Thank you so much for hosting us. Very much appreciated. We're just running through some of the changes that we have added to Folktale this week in the latest dev build. I am trying to catch up with chat and answer everybody's questions. Okay, so I'll train some arbalists. Let's go and we're having Stonewood's reporting a bug where you can train infinite arbalists. So.
This building already supports the maximum number of specialists.
No, you can't. Not in this build, anyway. Or maybe I guess because we're several builds on from the one that's on Steam. that might well have been a bug in there. Interesting. All right. Well, what if we actually train?
This building already supports the maximum number of
multiple like Arbalists and City Watch. Danzipar, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching from Brazil. Actually, where are you guys? Where is everybody? What countries have we got watching today? I'm always interested to know, because I mean, obviously we see sales, and I see where in some crazy places that sales get made. You know, you sort of have to look on a map, and yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. So it is to me anyway. I would love to hear where you guys are from. Oh, thanks for the salute. Oh God, I've got to really focus on that. Solace Tally. Solace Tally. Yeah, anyway, I recognise you. Ah, right, yeah, fellow Brit. Okay, good to have you here. North Carolina, Lithuania, Belgium, New England, Netherlands, Texas, Canada, Newcastle here in England, Italy. We had Brazil earlier. Holland, a couple of guys from Brazil, is that right? Good stuff. Much like the team, truly international. So it's great to have an international audience as well. Actually, for everybody that's in countries where English is not your first language, first of all, thanks for supporting the game during development. Obviously, it's all in English at the moment. We will be providing text translations in multiple languages towards the end of development. I don't think we've got the kind of budget to be able to record all of the voiceover in different languages, but we will certainly do the text. And in terms of keyboards, so like in France and Sweden, places like that that have slightly different keyboard layouts, we will be adding in keyboard remapping actually in the game. There's a way to do it at the moment by editing one of the JSON files, and information on how to do that is included in the forum. Or if you're left-handed, equally as well, you may want to swap over. But it's not implemented actually in the game UI at the moment. Yeah, Mr. MG, yeah, sorry about that. I was halfway through answering your question when they attacked. So, right, so if there won't be children as mechanic, is there a possibility they can be added for fun? I love the running and playing kids in Stronghold 2, which spawn around cottages. We typically only add things that contribute functionally to gameplay. I mean, obviously, we sort of add bells and whistles in terms of animation. I mean, where's that? Where is it? Oh, we haven't built a herbalist yet, have we? All right, well, let's get a herbalist on the ground. Because we haven't talked about the herbalist yet, have we? So here's the herbalists. So let's plonk you down there. And we can start looking at some of the new building animations that have gone in. In fact, let's just zoom over to the Stonecutters Lodge, and you can see there's a little bit of an error in the building at the moment. So there's should be some rocks piled up here. Now, building animations, they don't run constantly. They just sort of they fire sporadically. Do we need? All right. Oh, right.
Something to do?
No. Oh, no. Right, I've got to watch what I'm doing here. Right, you guys get into defense mode and fire back.
Yes,
I'm hoping
Petal.
that, yeah. I don't think the goblins at the moment, their weapons haven't been configured fully, so they're not particularly effective. So I think the damage reduction is mitigating pretty much all of the damage.
All right, my love.
So we want to probably, oops, leave that. Let's move up our arbalists and take care of these goblins that are raining down. There we go. You are no match. No match for my guys. Yeah. Okay. And you do a bit of wolf bashing as well. So let's move them back there. Plonk those into guard mode so that they don't move. Right. Sorry about that. Yeah. So going back to children, like I'm coming round to the idea of children. So we will definitely see about that. Oh, we just missed the animation on there. So Anywho's, I was over at the Stonecutter's Lodge. Here we go. So the animation, the work animation for that is that the crane will go across. It will lower the grabber. It'll grab a rock and it drops into the hopper, where the rock is then goes through like cutting machine and gets cut into stone blocks. So that is one of the new animations. The water wheel's going at the moment, but we need to actually animate this. And this is our herbalist's den. Now the herbalist, actually let's see if we've got a spare peasant that we can...
Yes, my dear?
We do, yeah.
What now? On my way. Ta-ta. Yup, really?
How can I help?
Alright, we've got a female peasant there. So let's grab a female. I'll make you a female herbalist. Here. Alright, so the herbalist is another one that has a should have a specific hairstyle. So at the moment it's not. Oh, are we missing the animation? Oh, there we go. You probably didn't. Let's frame that so you can see that in the future. Alright, so while I'm nattering away, you guys will actually be able to see the animation. So the herbalist, right? The herbalist will grow. Sort of generic herbs, like a healing herb, in the farmer's field. And that will be the mainstay of production. So they will go and cultivate the herbs, bring them back to the herbalist den, and then they will make that into lesser medicine. And lesser medicine just cures sort of like minor ailments and sicknesses. You will also be able to research poisons and elixirs. So I'll just research that. Let's see if it's... Alright, so it's unlocked goo potions. So lesser goo potions. And we can see what the ingredients are here. Now, at the moment in this map, bear in mind that you are going to have to leave the area that your village is in and go adventuring to find crafting components. It's done then. So sticky goo is actually dropped in another area by a different monster. So before you're able to actually craft these higher level potions, elixirs and medicines, you'll have to actually go and get the ingredients. Oops. Where were we? Not research, crafting. Yeah, so sticky goo is from the snails? Yeah, I think that's where they were intended to get from, so from the snails. They will also require some of like the generic, is shown up as hemlock at the moment, but like the generic herbs, the bulk of your herbs that are grown in your farmers' fields. There will also be rarer herbs dotted around the world, and you'll be able to collect those as you're adventuring, and then they'll be able to be used in more potent potion making. Alright, I'm nattering on again and I'm probably missing questions, so let me just scroll back up. Goose McDucks, yeah, in terms of the health, I think we will definitely be increasing the health of units when we go into balancing for 0.3. So at the moment it's over fairly quickly, and we want it to be take longer than that, so you can use special abilities, especially hero abilities. So we will be going in that direction, I think. All right. Jedi Kitty is asking, with any game in development, there is often a non-disclosure agreement. That being stated, is this game able to be streamed via twitch.tv at any time? Yes, it is. Absolutely, and I positively encourage you to. Basically, because it gets awareness of the game out there. We aren't like hugely shouting about the game at this point. We're literally heads down, cracking on with development. We've got a really good level of funding, so you know it's not like we need. We're not desperate, so we don't need to like put it on like 80% discount or 66% discount on Steam or anything like that. So we are literally cracking on with development now. So we are not massively shouting about it. So it's nice that you know we're starting to build a community and folks are joining us for the dev hangouts and starting to create levels. Loving that, loving talking to you guys and hearing what your thoughts are as well. And a lot of the feedback that you're giving us is going into improving the game. So be that kit pieces or like special abilities that heroes should have, and maybe some mechanics that we've implemented people just hate. And the fact that we're in early access enables us to actually listen to you guys and what you're telling us. Now we obviously have to make sure that we don't take decisions off one person's opinion, but if it's a recurring theme in feedback that we've done something that's just not working very well, that's a great opportunity for us to be able to rework it. So thanks for your continued participation and interest, and keep all that feedback coming. Yeah, Halfox, thanks for linking the video policy. So Jedi Kitty, that gives you the disclaimer. So sometimes social media sites ask for like evidence that you have the right to be able to stream game content. We've just put a blanket granting of rights to do that. So, you know, feel free to stream, go ahead and stream with that. Oliver's asking, are there any plans for leader of a village? No, so we've got no plans for a mayor or something like that, because Folktale is going to be very much about the story. Let's put SSR. Very much about the lives of all of your peasants rather than one particular hero or character. And if we introduce like a mayor, this is our initial thinking. Well, our initial thinking since we started is that a mayor is very much focused on one particular person, and that's probably a bad thing, because what we want you to do is to be able to pay attention to the lives of lots of different characters. You might just want to let's take Barney de Montfort, the female herbalist. We've still not linked up the names system to it. If you want to follow Barney here and get her leveling up and maybe take her on some adventures and stuff like that, then you can do. We want to encourage that, but you also want to be able to jump to all your other characters, because if you just focus on one person, then you're going to miss out on a lot of things. Folktale's about sort of coordinating everything that you've got going off in your building, in your village as well, to face some of the threats that will be posed to your entire village. But I suppose it is also about doing quests for individual characters or like an individual building. That didn't really answer the question, did it? Of why we aren't doing a mayor. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just. What would he add? What would a mayor add? Is my question, I suppose. And it comes back to that. So you're saying that it would something like that which would boost production and happiness. Do leaders increase happiness? Surely it's the policies that they introduce, which would be you as a player. In terms of whether you keep them happy or not, and choose to keep them fed or not. Surely that's more important than just having the role there. It's just, I guess that the mayor's role is too similar to what you're doing as a player. Okay, so we've talked about... Right, so herbs. Let's take this for example. So there'll be another option. If you want to swap a farmer's field across to herbs, then it's just a matter of reallocating. So this one's set to be cotton at the moment. You can see that, it should actually be the weaver that's cultivating the cotton. If I wanted to change this over to pumpkins, I can immediately reassign it like that. And you see the farmer's already there cultivating the field, ready for planting the pumpkins crop, which is what's happening here. We'll be getting rid of these things. So whenever you place a field down, it should clear up what's underneath and get rid of like small rocks and plants. It's just that plant's not being set up now. Right, I better check my schedule. Alright, so we've talked about that, so let's have a look at some more of the research. We've been going in this week and setting up the research. That's interesting. I must have got the wrong icons for those when I was setting it up. And that's confession that's got the wrong one. Let's make a note of that so I can fix that. And at the moment you'll see that they've all got the same values and all require the same amount of gold, research points and culture. So this is something that we are still implementing at the moment. Just have a quick check on time. We're good. Coming up to the first hour. And these all unlock different bonuses, which will be... So at the moment, most of them just sort of increase productivity by 10. So if I go to the Workers tab, and actually there's no workers assigned to this, so there's going to be no gain, because you need workers to be able to... So let's go and grab... Let's grab you and train a monk. Quick. Alright, so there we go. So we've trained a monk now, so there is efficiency, 100% efficiency at the moment, which is fantastic. But if I then want to research something, so Hive Designs, alright, it's saying at the moment there's a 10% worker productivity, that's really a placeholder. But if I research that, and it should make a nice little bells and whistles like, ooh, new research unlocked, and I don't know, some sparkle somewhere. But essentially what that does, under productivity, you'll see that that's now given us a buff that increases worker productivity. Hi Arkella, thanks for joining us. And I think they're stackable as well, so if we choose to research pest control, then I would expect... Okay, so that's another 10% bonus. Now that's interesting because it seems to have given us a 10% bonus of our already boosted value. Now, is that the way that we want it to work, or do we want it to work off the base value with the buff applying it to the base value? Or is it stacking? Interesting question that we'll discuss next week. Dante Bar, I'm not quite sure. Well, presumably you're talking to somebody else. That because I don't. I'm unfortunately not particularly multilingual. I speak, a couple of languages, just about enough to order in restaurants and get taxis and stuff. But it will be Brazilian Portuguese, that won't it? My apologies, for my ignorance in not knowing Portuguese, let alone Brazilian Portuguese. Okay. So the research, that's the research in the monastery. Taylor's Emporium. I don't think I've tied up the... I don't think I've connected cloth arm yet. I was working on that, and let's just see. Oh, it is, but it's not quite showing. So I've not set up. It was what I was working on Friday. So that you'd be able to unlock cloth armor and start crafting cloth armor at the Taylor's Emporium. But that's not in there at the moment. And Weaver's Hut. Let's have a look what research we've got there. So we've got Cardi and the Flying Shuttle. Now, this is all interesting stuff to me because I remember studying it at school. The English Industrial Revolution, 1700 to 1850. I think it was. I think like England was the first country to go through the Industrial Revolution, so all of this was involved in the change from cottage industries where everything was produced literally in cottages to the introduction of factories and stuff like that. Did William Arkwright, didn't he have something to do with this? Was he the creator of the spinning... whatever. Anyway. There's some historical relevance to some of this. Stonewood is saying, I like the expanded boundary one. Is that something that's well? Right, I'm not sure it shows fully at the moment because we're not... What we need to do is when we click on a building, a resource collection building, is we need to show the influence sphere, which is if you've got cotton fields in that boundary, then they will collect from those fields. But at the moment we don't show it when you select the building. But if we go, go to research, and then if we actually...
We don't have enough gold to do that.
Let's cheat and get some more gold. If we research that, then that should expand the boundary and enabling us to capture more sources of resource. In terms of some of the other buildings, so the Crooked Cauldron is ready, and the witches are ready as well. So that's something that could be coming along soon. We've not put everything in right now, so there's also the marketplace as well, because many of these buildings require gameplay mechanics to be integrated. So like crafting at the blacksmith requires crafting to be implemented, and crafting requires all of the item definitions to be set up, and all the data structures and everything like that needs setting up for that. So all of that work has to be done before we can actually put in like the crafting at the blacksmith. Now some buildings, such as the Tailor's Emporium, are fairly heavily influenced by crafting, and crafting is one of their sort of big roles. Now Tailor's Emporium is actually an economy building, but like the jewelers, for example, their specific purpose is to take rough gemstones that are found by your miners and to polish them into gemstones that can then be used by the witches in the Crooked Cauldron for enchanting, that can be then put in during the crafting of magic weapons at the blacksmith. And now, so that the role of the jeweler is very crafting oriented, so we need to get crafting in before we can release that building. Okay, so it's done, it's sat there. If you look at the roadmap, which I think I've updated, it should show that the jeweler is queued for implementation. So once we've got crafting all working nicely, then chances are that will come online. The marketplace, the Crooked Cauldron, yeah, so there's some cool stuff coming now that we're getting a lot of the mechanics in that we're wanting. Mr. Emger, I will let Harfoxel answer that, which he has done further down. Naki Road's asking, will you be able to give cloth armor to villagers? That was the intention. So we're going to put it in like that. And then see if it makes sense. But yeah, I mean that's the intention. So I think we'll be doing that. Let's swap that back to cotton. Have a nice variety of crops growing. Newpot's asking, will there be controllable non-human units? Right. So with factions and being able to do them favors and win them over or alienate them. So if you are able to win over a faction, then the chances are that they will grant you like either a hero or maybe control of some military units. So like, I don't know, if you were to befriend the Beastmen faction and they were really friendly with them and you were really friendly with them, then perhaps what they would do is maybe grant you, you know, what we call it, not a company of Beastmen, but you know, I don't know, a posse of Beastmen, a growling of Beastmen, let's call it that. And maybe then you'll be able to control those. So yeah, the game is being built so that that is possible, and I think that would be a cool and interesting, fun element. Or it's saying, since the snow kit is ready for 0.2.11, will you add a new zone for the December patch? Well, bearing in mind we're not finished on the snow kit yet. I mean, it's looking good already, and I think I'll actually jump into that very shortly. I think I'm done talking about this. Am I done crafting recipes? Yeah, I think we can jump across into that shortly. But we've added the Snow Monastery. Now, the Snow Monastery is the home of the Werfu monks, and we'll be following on from the story that was established in the tutorial. So if you remember that the evil monk Wolf Chow was trying to perform the ritual of the Bloody Fang, and then the human monks, as they were at that time, realized what he was doing, and Rufus Poo was trying to lead them in stopping him, but Wolf Chow was able to complete that and turn them all into werewolves. So the werewolves are being re-envisioned in production at the moment, and they will be appearing in the game real soon. Now, their home is meant to be all of the Snow Monastery, and that's just one faction within the Snow Zone. So we also have the opposing faction to that, which is Jack Frost and his frosty minions, and they will live in an ice palace. So everything is made predominantly of ice. So you'll notice. In fact, let's just jump into that now. So let's just kill that game and let's fire up that map that I was working on earlier before the stream. Let's hide that. Right, so the first thing I will do, let's actually just build some buildings to get a look at the ambience. Let's have a hut, so we've got a few more folks. So I was talking about, I'll just run over, once they've finished building the cottage, I'll just grab one of these guys and we'll run over there and have a look at the Snow Monastery.
Building completed.
So I was talking about the new ambient settings. So this is the snow zone, so it's different. You know, it just didn't look right with the grassland lighting it, so we decided to go ahead and put that in. And if I just, well, it should go to nighttime real soon.
Building completed.
All right, good.
All right, my love.
Villagers have
All
arrived.
right, dear.
So let's take you. Now, I haven't actually tested this with characters yet, so this is a good test. Good. All right, bridge looks like it works all right.
Okay. A woman's work is never done. Be right there, darling.
Okay, good. That's all working okay.
Busy, busy, busy. All right, dear.
Villagers have arrived.
Right away. Okay. A woman's work is never
Right.
done.
Presumably she can get through
Be right
without
there,
any
darling.
problems. Yeah.
Busy, busy,
There
busy.
you go.
All right, dear.
It's looking great, isn't it, guys? I think it's looking great, but then I'm
Right
biased.
away. Okay.
Okay.
A woman's work is never
So this
done.
is where you're going to be placing
right
your
there,
Werfu
darling.
monks. Now, obviously, you are not confined to doing that. If you want to have beastmen hang out here, that's totally up to you guys. Feel free to
Busy,
design
busy.
whatever you want, a world however you
All
want
right,
it to
dear.
be. But in terms of the developers' take on the world, then
Right
this
away.
is the home of the Werfu monks. Now,
Okay.
excuse
Work
me, I
is
don't know
never
if
done.
I've shared this or not, but you running?
Be right
You
there,
going to run?
darling.
Come on, chop chop. All right, we've gone into night time now, so different ambience again.
Busy, busy, busy. All right,
Oh,
dear.
right, okay, so there's a problem there.
Right away. Okay.
can't get down
A
from
woman's
the-
work is never done. Be right there, darling.
She can't get down from the steps. Alright, we'll look into that. That's just part of the testing that we need to do. Oh yeah, building on uneven terrains. Yeah, so we're still intending to do that. So where are we? This is uneven. This is unlevel terrain. At the moment, you can only build on flat terrain, which is what I've done here and here. Now, to improve both the look of the game, but also the playability of it, we want to support building on slopes. So if I just go like here, for example, I want to be able to place, let's grab a, I don't know, a house, a cottage. I want to be able to build here. So we're going to be putting in foundations below the buildings. And it should open up a lot more buildable space in the game. So, but it's just not a priority at this point in time. We're still building in a lot of the mechanics. Okay, right, anyway, let's grab...
My pleasure.
In fact, let's train a monk and we'll take a monk over. I've got some drinking around somewhere. I'll grab a drink while this guy's running over there. So...
Bless you.
Bless you. Right. So I was talking about the frost zone. Eclithid, hi. Thanks for joining us. How you doing? I was talking about, you know, the Snow Monastery zone being the home of the Werfu monks. And then the opposition faction is Jack Frost. And like the ice golems and things like that. So we've already started work on, let's zoom down. You got sort of like the icy look. Let's send them over here. Oh dear. What's going on? Is that broken? Oh no. There are still a few, you know, glitches that need ironing out. That's what you know, we're in dev. Okay. One thing that we'll be changing is we'll be changing the water in each zone, but it's not hooked up at the moment. But this is starting to get more frosty, more icy. So the idea is that we move from mostly like a snow zone, and we start to get into an ice palace zone where everything has been frozen. And then you will meet Jack Frost, and then you know you can either side with Jack Frost and help Jack Frost out, which will inevitably pit you against the Werfu monks, or you can come and side with the Werfu monks and go against Jack Frost. Now, we were also talking this week about Rufus Poo, the guy who tried to stop Wolf Chow. Now he'll have been exiled, so Rufus Poo might be a hero that you meet, and if you help Rufus Poo against the Werfu monks, or specifically Wolf Chow, then he might be a hero that you unlock. There's definitely some bugs in there. Yeah, in terms of Dunsibai talking about seeing these mega structures populated, the ruins in the Swamp Kit, which are home to the token, so the token are now ready. So hopefully we'll be able to get those in the next couple of weeks, and then they can start populating those places. Same for the Werfu monks. We're starting to breathe life into the races, starting with the goblins. So the goblins have buildings, and then they will sort of perform work, and they will seem like they're a living AI village. and in time we'll roll that out to the other racers. So they won't just be standing around, they'll actually be, you know, living, breathing, daily life cycles going on. We've also done some experimenting as well. I think when we change the ambient system, we've now got the option as well of swapping over textures, so we're able to actually make the buildings look like they're blended better, even better with the snow terrain, so there'll be sort of built up snow on the roofs. And then you'd see we've got some already that, like on the cart here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to finishing this level. It's one of the favourites of mine. I really like the swamp, and I really like this one, and I have a feeling I'm really going to like the lava zone as well. And then hopefully I'm going to really like the dungeons as well. But yeah. Any new Snow Zone soundtracks to roll out? Yeah, so with each of the zones, so I'm not sure if the Snow Zone shipped in the last patch, but the Snow Zone music will be shipping in the next patch. So that means we've, you know, we've got the grasslands done, the swamp is done, and the snow zone is done. So basically all of the music, the ambient music and battle music is done. And then the next batch of music will go with the cinematics. But we will keep on rolling out the music as new zones become available. Ichlith is asking for an XYZ indicator for the location of a tile in the editor. Yeah, that's, you already get that in the inspector. In fact, I'll do that now. I'll jump across into that now. Jump into the editor, and we'll open that level up. Okay, so if I just spin around and go to where we were just then in the game, if I choose a tile, you see you've got the position here and the rotation, although it doesn't really apply in that case. Let's choose the bridge, for example. So if I want to type it and change the height, I can go in here and I can actually change it. Change the rotation, so type that in as well. So you have access to that. And I actually use that as well. So if I am putting in, say, new pieces like this, I know that we align the ground snaps. So if I choose a ground tile, not that, you're going to let me, yeah. So I know that we snap, and that typically these are whole number, they're on a Y height of, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and so on. So it's very easy to, you know, if I insert a world piece and it for some reason appears on the terrain underneath and I want to get it up, I know that it's, you know, I can very quickly go in and I know, because we pivot, we put the pivot of objects, you can see it's kind of, it's at the bottom. So you know that the pivot should align with the floor, so I can type in a very exact figure there and instantly get it to align with the floor. Some things you don't want to do that. So like if I choose the, this is the snow, it's like the blowing snow. I don't know if you can see that in Hangout. So that, if I actually made that snap to 60, we might get some Z fighting. So, and some flicker, basically flicker like that. And that's because the ground tile exists at exactly the same Y value as our effect. So typically what I do, I think I tested it and I just add a little extra bit of height onto decals so it avoids flicker. It's just something to be aware of. Oliver is asking, is this Games Foundry first game? It's our first game as a team. It's not my first game though. I was the creative lead on a game called Beasts and Bumpkins, published by Electronic Arts back in 1997. Goose McDuck is saying, when in a group you only change one object's position. Let's give that a go now. In fact, let's go somewhere. Let's choose that piece and that piece, and let's change it to 50. No, it seems to change both. That was interesting though. It didn't register in undo. I was just in the undo key, and it didn't undo those. There are bugs, you know, throughout. They're not fatal bugs though, so you can always recover by, you know, correcting it manually. Things like that will be fixed in time. It's just that we have to assign a priority to them. I can't remember who was asking about the green thing sticking in the water. So this is a fishing point. And the green cylinders are where your fishermen would actually walk up to and fish, and they would cast their rods into the water where the fish are. So if I just sort of zoom down here, you'll see that we've got little fish swimming around. And we can rotate that. So you wouldn't want to put it there because they'd never be able to route to it. But so you can put the fishing points on the bank wherever you want. Okay, so I was in the process of, before the stream, I was doing a little bit of map design. So let's continue on with that. What I wanted to build, if you've ever been to any Far Eastern temples, they tend to, well, I say tend, that's not strictly true, but they tend to be more of a similar on the same height level but spread out over a wide area, unless of course they're built, you know, on a hill. So I think with this I'm going to keep the level fairly flat, just with a couple of raised areas of interest. So I think we'll have like a big, I've got to think where I'm going to put Wolf Chow as a boss, and I think I'll put them sort of, I think I'll put him over here somewhere. And I want it to be fairly obvious what building it is. So if I'm down on the ground level, I'm sorry, just let me zoom over here. If I'm on the ground level, I also want to be able to see. So maybe like we'll have a little tower or a raised thing up here. So I want to be able to create that. But the rest of it, I want it to be fairly flat and built up. A lot of sort of mazes, almost like, I don't know, side alleys maybe. Mr. MJ is asking, will there be boats for a level with islands? No, we don't have the budget to be able to add that in. Now the budget can change over time and the scope can change over time, although it won't be added in until we've implemented everything that we plan to implement, if it's in at all. So it would be a very cool feature to add, I'll give you that, but at the end of the day developers need paying for their time to be able to put all that in, and you know the budget isn't large enough at this point to be able to put that in. It's enough to cover everything that we've got planned, but not naval combat or boats. Zy Profit saying, hey, I was thinking about picking up this game. Just have one question. Can I place buildings wherever I want, or do you have to be in plots? And by that, you're referring to the tutorial that had fixed build plots in. That has gone entirely in Sandbox. So Sandbox now has free placement on, at the moment, on flat terrain, but we'll be later adding it in so you can also build on slight inclines, so slight hills as well. But yeah, Sandbox is basically free build. If you are interested in the game, I will say only get it if you're interested in supporting the game and supporting us as developers, because the game, as it stands right now, may only have enough content in it to keep you amused for so long. So as long as you're patient, then, and you don't mind supporting us, then yeah, definitely pick it up, because it's great and we need that support. But if you are after just consuming playable content, then I would say maybe hold off until patch 0.3. So I'd rather you join us at a point where you're happy that there'll be enough to keep your interest. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things to do with the level designers. If you are into level design, and we're continually expanding that, so that's a big area. But obviously, not all players are interested in that, and they just want playable content, which there's not necessarily enough of that in to keep you occupied for 10-20 hours. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so sort of drop back into level design, try and answer your questions. Lan3D is saying it would be cool if buildings cost a bit more to build on the inclines to cover the additional foundation. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. It's a good job you're on the dev team, isn't it? Yeah, so Folktale, we pitch it as a city builder RPG that plays like an RTS. You know, so it's got all of the goodness that you would expect in that. You know, it's got monsters, it's got loot, it's got crafting, it's got magic, it's got exploration and questing. It's got the city building, leveling up buildings. It's got research, building upgrades, I should have said. And it's also got. It'll also have some storyline in it, so that we can meet the expectations of those that prefer like a campaign-based game, but built on a sandbox platform. All right, so I was kind of doing a bit of map design. I think I'm going to leave the doors because our art director came up with a really nice design for some of the doors. And I can't for the life of me remember what he used, which pieces he used. So I'm going to have to have a chat with him on Monday and see exactly how he did it. I don't know if he had some pillars or different roof pieces, but I'm not going to spend too long doing that. I'm just going to work on putting in more of the sort of the foundation bases. So first thing I need to do is get an idea of where we are on the map. All right, so we've got a good amount over here, so that I can put in all of Jack Frost's lair and everything over there. So I can really expand over into this corner, which is fine. I think I'll give them this quadrant here for the werewolves. Sounds good to me. We've got a fair few number of the dev team actually joining us today. So if you guys have got any questions or comments, then chances are they're going to be seen by the folks working on it. So we've got one of the character artists in, so he's been working on the Werfu monks this week. We've got the art director in, we've got the animator in, we've got the programmer in, we've got me. So yeah, we're lurking around. We're in there. I'm sure you'll start to figure out who's who. Right, so let's carry on doing what I was doing. Now, we probably want some big stone pillars. Now, I did have some of those somewhere. Where were they? Let's open up the kit pieces. Jump down to the snow monastery. I think it was a stone column, large. So that's just an end piece. What's the third one? That's like a fat piece. So I'm actually, now the art director's here, I can ask some questions. Rich, I'm trying to remember from like the 2 minutes that I saw the pic on your screen on Friday night of, no, I mean Saturday morning for me. In terms of the buildings, what pieces were you using for those cool entrances that you were making? Because I really want to make them. Right, so let's see. 887. Let's put these on the same. 888. 888. All right, and then let's group those together. That seems about right. So if we put that in there. Not really sure what those. I guess those pieces is for just sort of putting. Let's see. Can we rotate? Yeah. Okay. Right. These are for like maybe popping in snow and things like that. You're missing a little pillar at the corner of the second stairs at the front. Could be there. Oh. I'll tell you what, I'm probably missing this one here. Group those up with Control G, Control D to duplicate, move those in the plane. Alright, should we move these as well? I think we should probably move those. Let's group those, duplicate, move those as well. They look pretty good. Right, that's the lights done. Ollie Bear is asking, is there any advice on what to do when you start a game, such as first buildings I should build and what resources I should focus on getting? So that's going to be the point of the sandbox tutorial. So much like the tutorial was that was built on all the old tech and campaign sort of structure, we will introduce some hand-holding to introduce walk players through sandbox and to give it purpose and lead into all of the adventuring. The first stage of that is going to be like a text-based quest editor. So we will be adding that, and we'll be adding that. It's going to have to be fairly soon because we're going to need that, I think, for 0.3. So bear with us on that. So far it has been mostly about developing environmental content, character content, and all of the tech to drive that. Now what we need to do is focus on giving it context and tying it all together so that it is a seamless playable experience. It's nice that we are now at that stage, and I cannot wait to get on with that. But it's just going to take a little bit of time because we obviously need some of the tech like the quest designer to be built. Oh, above that one. Right. Okay. Did you mean there? No. Above that. All right. You mean there and there. So I've well, there and possibly there. I'm not putting those in at the moment. Let's get rid of those. Okay. Rich, one of the things that... actually, I guess it's trim, isn't it? It's one of these big fat trim pieces. Rich, while you're here, Rich is our art director, by the way, I'll just point out some of the pieces that we need. So this chunky convex piece I've got quite narrow jutting out bits here at either side of the stairs, and I'd quite like, you know, before you used to sort of do those U-shaped pieces, and also, well, the U-shaped pieces. I need the U-shaped pieces to be able to finish this section here. But then I suppose that might be quite difficult because they would be done to this size. Stonewood. All right, it doesn't matter. I'll spot it. I will spot it at some point. Right, so I did do that. Do we need to hide that? No, because that would be... I don't know. I'll probably come up with a neater way of doing that, I think. Oh, what we do need... I have a feeling I need to... No. Maybe that one was intended for... No, because that's too shallow as well. Alright, so I wonder what... That would seem to make sense that that goes on that, but then... Maybe I'm meant to just use another piece of that, I don't know. Doesn't seem right. I'll have to chat. I'll have to make sure these things stack logically. I'll ask Rich to advise me on how they stack together. But the purpose of me creating these levels is to give you guys a resource that you can pick apart and see how some of the pieces were intended to be used. I mean, obviously they can be used in really novel ways that we've not thought about, but for example, the roofing it's really useful if you've got a reference guide to be able to just jump into and have a look how we built them, to get an understanding of how the pieces were designed to work together so that you can get the best out of your own designs. Use the single stone for the top piece. This one. Let's reset the rotation on those. 0 and 0. So does that mean I can move that down? Or does it just sit on the top? Is it meant to just sort of sit? No, that can't be right. Maybe it is. Perhaps in the stream is not the best place to do that, to try and figure it out. So what I will continue, let's just undo all that. Alright, so I'll just continue doing what I was doing, and I can go back and replace. Let's plonk that down there, just out of the way. Okay, so I guess if they're going up there and around there, do I want them to go up there? Let's see, because they are going to work their way back, but maybe it would be really cool if I kept this walking up. So let's have an area that they can fight on. So I'd imagine that if you alienated the Werfu monks and you were trying to get to Wolf Chow, you'd want to come up here. So I'd want you to face some opposition. So I think I'll put in an area where you could fight there. And then let's say I'll plonk another corner there wherever I work them out. Let's move these out of the way. Jump and dump them over there. And then I think I want let's grab, oops, not that one. Let's group those together, duplicate, move, and rotate round. Okay, well that's actually not that great, so let's get rid of those. Let's go down and check the level. Yep, that's fine. Snug it up against those. If you go into Google, you're talking about graphics cards and benchmark ratings. If you go onto Google and search for GPU benchmark, I think it's Tom's Hardware that we use. Just let me type that in now. Let's have a look. No, it's videocardbenchmark.net. And then if you go to the high-end video cards, it's a bit misleading, really, high-end, because it's like, got cards in there that are now quite old on it. And that'll give you the benchmark rating of your graphics card. Now, there's also a mid-range chart, so you can change at the top right of each page. There's a select page, and you can jump to high-end video cards, high mid-range video cards, and low mid-range cards. So you look on there. Now, at the moment, the minimum spec's quite high. It's like a benchmark rating of, I don't know, something like 2,000. But we've got machines that are much lower than that ourselves that we can test on. And it's certainly playable on some that are around 1,000 benchmark. It obviously depends on what settings you're running at. Excuse me, and resolution. And in time, we do expect to be able to bring down that minimum spec. The best thing to do if you sort of you're not feeling comfortable about that, or you're unsure about your benchmark, is just ask in the forum, and then we'll try and answer. Well, first of all, give you make sure you tell us what graphics card you've got, and then we'll give you some indication of whether it'll work nicely or not. I think I'm going to leave them there because I'm going to be building up. What I want to do is, if I grab this wall here, actually what I probably should do is I should be consistent. So let's, I'm just going to move that out of the way over here. Duplicate it, move it up, group, not group, just select, and then move that back into place so I can get an alignment for where this back wall will go. Nope. And then let's just duplicate out a few of those pieces. And then we'll select those, duplicate, use the minus key, oops, undo, and then we've got the start of our sort of higher level. Doesn't look particularly interesting at the moment at the back there, but once I start adding in some detail, it will. Stonewood, in terms of right click, we're on 4.6 beta 18 at the moment, and right click wasn't enabled until beta 19, 20, something like that. Release candidate 1's just been released, so we are looking at that. The reason why we didn't upgrade is because there were some new bugs introduced that would have caused problems for us. So we've been holding off until they're fixed, and then we'll be able to add in right click, because we need right click for like inventory, and when you've got your global inventory open in your character sheet, you just right click on something in your global inventory and it'll transfer to the right slot in the character sheet. But we've not been able to add that until we basically migrate to either release candidate 1 or 2. Now, will I want to sort of carry that on like that, or will I want to? It looks a bit solid, doesn't it? That maybe I should break it into two sort of raised up areas, and then a bridge going in there. Oh yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Right. So what I'll do is, I think, oops, let's select those just for the time being. Let's rotate those round. And then I think I'll perhaps mirror the same. Do I want them to be sloping? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. So I'll just quickly sort of indicate where I'm going with this. So let's Delete a few of these, and that's probably going to throw all of these off, but let's just throw that in there. Oh, that's interesting. That alignment doesn't work particularly well. Does it mean we've got to have it like that? Seems a bit... Oh, I suppose because the trim's there. Yeah, okay. I suppose that's the snap constraint that I've got to work to. So, that's interesting. So why... Okay, so it's there. Right, so it doesn't want to come across. So if we have some sort of wall, sloping wall, always asking about the console commands for disabling grass and the fixed camera view. Foxley, if you can answer that, because it's a very specific question. Right, so I'm thinking sort of if we have a sloping, well, let's go and grab that piece from, which one was it? Was that one? No, it was this one here. Let's grab that. And move that over there. It's often quicker just to duplicate a piece like that and to move it into place rather than open up the kit to go find it. Alright, first thing we need to do is make sure they're aligned and then move it in. Is that right? That's right there, isn't it? This top line. That's not going to be right because what I need to do is put another one in. Dunk. 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 Right. Rich, while you're on, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to maybe look at possibly providing multiple versions of this because of the tiling. The UV tiling. I think there is, yeah, in that particular instance. I think there are also some half pieces, but there's only one of the half pieces, so it's a slant. That's, yeah, see that's slant straight half 02, but what I also need is half 01. Let me just check I haven't got that. Slant straight half 02, and what I need is slant straight half 01, which I don't have, which is the other half of the UV set from this tile, because otherwise I can't. Is that even going to work? I don't know. Look, if I move that along. What I'm trying to do is looking at this UV tiling here, so it's not quite right, is it? No, I'll leave that for in the week anyway, because what I'm more interested in at this stage is the concept for. Alright, so have we got those lines now? Yeah, alright. So how's that going to look? Yeah, that's going to look okay, I think. There's two here. Is that looking a bit weird? That's going to look a bit weird, isn't it? because you're going to have this bit here. I need to think about that. But then what we would have... actually, that would be cool to... I know they would need to be straight to do that, wouldn't they? Or would it? What's the angle of this in comparison? Oh, no, it won't work. It won't work. What I'm thinking. Right, so then I want a bridge. Now, these are obviously like really... like narrow. Not narrow. Not very long. And I'd probably want to span quite a big gap of, well, where's halfway? Well, let's shift those. So let's say it's kept, you know, symmetrical, and then move that one there, and then I guess we'd need some sort of huge pillars here. So let's grab a straight wall. We've got a straight wall. Yes, we have. Let's see what that looks like when it's over there. Oops, no, that's not. That's too far. All right, so it's the wrong piece, but we can test it. There is. I can get the correct piece if it works. All right. Well, that doesn't snap. So probably want to think about that, Rich, in the week if we want to think about columns or maybe a different bridge or something like that. Cover level design a solution, cover it with the snow. What I do particularly enjoy the big new mounds of snow that we have here. So let's just grab one of those. So if you ever face a problem like this and you're in doubt, then shove a load of snow over it. Brilliant. I'm not too concerned. I'm sort of concepting at this stage rather than detailing. And then I'll have to work out if the architecture will actually work or not. Have a mirror of all of this. So let's just sort of grab. Let's grab you, and you, and hang on, that's not going to strictly work, is it? Because I'm going to want to have to mirror flip it, which I can't do. So let's just rotate it around like that. Oh, no, can we? Yes, we can. Of course we can. I guess we'd have to bring that out a little bit to make it match, but sort of like that. And some pillars, and then maybe we could have. Let's see, what would we have? Would we have some sort of like drains or something underneath it? Not really sure. We could possibly have some drains. Yeah, the grid system, I mean, we do try and, like Rich puts a lot of work into making sure that these pieces all snap together and work pretty well. So what you are seeing here is content that's just been included that hasn't been put through like a heavy level design test session, which is, you know, what I'm doing here. So I then provide feedback back into the team, and then we work out solutions to that and when you guys get the kits, it means that a lot of these sort of alignment issues have been dealt with and solutions thought about. How are we doing on time? I'm going to do the giveaway, I think. So let's just quickly jump into the giveaway. And set that up. So this is for the Steam key giveaway for Folktale. Dev team, please don't enter, otherwise I'll re-roll. If you would like to win a key for Folktale on Steam, that will give you access to the early access right now. So about 10-15 minutes after the stream ends, I will be sending out a key. And it also that basically turns into the final release of the game as well. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning that, you want to type in exclamation mark and the word enter. So you'll see some of the regulars doing that now. And let's just go ahead, and while it's doing that, I will make sure I can share this on my screen. So yeah, this is for the Steam key giveaway for a key to Folktale. So let's pause that. Hopefully that's not going to... Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't sync. So I've got two of the same chat channel open with the competition in it, and it's not showing all of the people in it. It's got a sync problem. So let's close that down. Otherwise, I'll be losing people. So I don't want to do that. So you guys have seen how I do the giveaway anyway. I use a bot for it. It's a totally random roll. So anybody could win it. If you've already got Folktale, it's no problem. You know, this key, you can give it to a friend or a family member, or you can just keep hold of it and give it away. If you're a streamer, if you already sort of stream on Twitch, then, you know, feel free to pass it on to your own audience. To enter, just copy what everybody else is doing. So it's exclamation mark enter. I'll be doing the roll real soon. And somebody will be picking up a copy of Folktale. Stonewood has entered every week and has been unlucky so far. So good luck. And maybe this week's your week. We'll see. Maybe if the winner has got Folktale and I will appeal out to them, to their generosity, maybe they will gift it to you. Who knows? Oh, unless you've already got it, in which case, you know, I can't. I'm pretty sure at Stonewood it was you that didn't have the key, and you never won. Or maybe I'm just getting it wrong. I don't know. All right, guys, closing last few moments of the Folktale key giveaway. Exclamation mark to enter. I'm going to be rolling now. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the winner this week is Mr. Emja. Congratulations! Yeah, I'll just flick it around so you can see my screen. I don't know if that's showing. No, okay, it's going to be too small, isn't it? Anyway, it's you, dude. Congratulations! So I will be sending you a key to Folktale to your Twitch account. Shortly after the stream ends, which will be pretty much now. Yeah, so congratulations to you. Thanks everybody for joining us. We tend to wrap up the stream after 2 hours because otherwise YouTube, when I export the video, it splits it, and I don't want that. 2 hours is a nice little chunk. Covered a lot of things this week. There's been a lot going on in dev. There's still a lot going on next week. So hopefully we'll be able to bring you another good chunk of dev. and all of it's going into patch 0.2.11 towards the end of this month. So thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to follow the channel or follow us on Twitter so you know when we're streaming. So that's at Games Foundry. And yeah, have a great rest of your weekend. Some of us, well, for some folks, especially in North Australia, that's the wee hours of Monday morning. But for the guys in sort of the US and Canada and places like that, yeah, enjoy your Sundays. Have a great time. Thanks for joining us. Okay, bye.